Doubleheader here in the Carrier Dome with a women's game following the men. But as for this big win for Louisville, if you look at the box score, this game was not pretty. Both teams shot 36% from the field, but unlike the first meeting back at U of L, the last 5 minutes were very pretty for the Cardinals, executing perfectly down the stretch. Luke Hancock and Kevin Ware in particular, and all doing it with the guy that Rick Pitino does not like to have to put on the bench, but he did for the first time.
I don't think I've ever gone away from Peyton Siva in my life. There was only one team that bothered Billy Donovan, and unfortunately we had to play him in the Final Four, and that was Syracuse. It's the only team he didn't play well against, all 3 games that year. So it's not just Peyton Siva, you know, it's the zone can bother certain people. It bothered Billy the Kid, and it bothers Peyton. I don't like going away from him because I have so much confidence in him, but I had to in this basketball game.
0 for 9 from the field today, 0 points in the box score, but Kevin Ware and Luke Hancock stepped up. For more on that, here's Eric Crawford.
We've had a lot of different catalysts for victory this year for the University of Louisville. We've had Peyton Siva and Russ Smith together. We've had Russ Smith by himself. Smith and Gorgie Jang have never had a game like Louisville had at Syracuse, where Kevin Ware and Luke Hancock were the catalyst. Those 2 guys, their numbers weren't off the charts, but Luke Hancock was 4 of 5 from 3. He made the big 3s late when it looked like Louisville was shaky and Syracuse was working its way back into the game, and he made a big defensive play with a steal. Those guys were solid in the second half, and that made the difference for Louisville.
It's huge, you know, if you can, you know, bring your starters off the floor and have guys come in and contribute and not lose anything, that's huge. You know, that's a lot of faults for a lot of teams, but I don't think we have that. I think we have guys at every position that can come in and contribute and play well.
I feel like as a team we're growing and maturing, and this is a veteran bunch, like Coach Pete always tells us. So this game was big for us, and it was a tournament game, so we really needed it.
We've seen Louisville come up short in some late game situations. To come through in one is really going to give them confidence. Let's go back to Steve.
Eric, the players were extremely excited after this win. You could hear it in the hallways. It was so loud in the locker room, and they embodied their head coach for most of this game. In particular, the last 5 minutes, Rick Pitino was fired up, furious with the referees, but Louisville does snap a 3-game losing streak to Syracuse, and they head back home to face Cincinnati on Monday. For Eric Crawford, I'm Steve Andress reporting from the Carrier Dome in Syracuse for WDRB Sports.